In this video, we're going to do something a little bit different. I've never done a video in this format before, but a few of you have been asking for a slower tutorial or something they can just follow along with me and just draw together with me, which is super exciting. As you can see, I'm kind of insecure to do a live, but I'm going to brace myself and do that soon. But in the meantime, I am just recording a voiceover and explaining this drawing of a butterfly. And I put it in a speed of 1.5, so it's not exactly real time. And that's because I am really slow in my process and I lift my hand a lot, and I go and pet my dog and then I drink my coffee and then I think of what to do next. So I cut a lot of these parts out so you wouldn't just, sit there looking at nothing happening on camera. So I just cut those parts out and put it on the 1.5 speed, which I think is a pretty normal speed. You can still follow along with me basically. Like, as you can see, it's not like super fast, but it just cuts the length of the video down a little bit. I don't really think people would want to sit down for 2 hours to do this drawing. I mean, it is just a butterfly, but we like to be really detailed in this channel, don't we? So yeah, I think it kind of feels like a puzzle to me. I've been really into puzzles lately, and drawing with ink and trying to portray something realistically is kind of a really fun challenge for me, and I think a lot of you are going to agree with me on this. So this is what we are trying to do here today. So yeah, grab a coffee, a drink of your choice, and let's draw this butterfly. Full disclosure, I am using a reference picture that I'm going to link in the description below. I'm definitely going to mumble a little bit because it's 1 hour long, and I'm going to do my best to be entertaining as I speak, but I'm also not going to pressure myself too much to do that because I'm already feeling very insecure, and this is the third time I'm trying to record this. So let's just do it. It's just a butterfly, right? So basically, as you can see here, just a little walkthrough of what I'm doing. You always start with the symmetry line. And I like to mark the horizontal lines, which are kind of optional, but it's just so you kind of get the heights of both wings on both sides the same, right? So I did a horizontal line on top, a horizontal line in the middle, dividing the two, like the top and bottom wings, and a horizontal line at the bottom so that the lowest point of the wings can kind of match. Of course, if you want to be super neat about this, you can use a ruler and kind of make like a grid for you to follow along. And right now, this is basically what you have to do. The body of the butterfly is super simple. As you can see, it's just like a little circle for the head, which I don't even know like if it's called a head, a body, or we're just gonna call it that for now because I'm not a biologist. But yeah, it's just a little circle, an oval shape, and then a thinner oval shape at the bottom. And by the way, I'm using my favorite. Oh my god, my English is gonna fail me on this recording a lot of times. I apologize in advance, but this is my favorite pencil to sketch. I got this from Amazon. I'm also gonna link it below if you're interested, because it took me years to find a good pencil. I used to use like normal pencils the longest time, but then you always have to like sharpen them and it's pretty annoying. So I got this pencil. It's an HB mechanical pencil by Pentel, and it's just the smoothest pencil I've ever had. It's just so nice to work with, and it's just so practical. You don't really have to take care of it. It's always ready to go. So yeah, I really recommend this pencil. And we are using this pencil to do the sketch before we use our fine line ink pens, which we're going to talk about them a little bit later. Right now I'm just doing the pattern of the wings. If you are following along with the same reference picture, and you're doing like the same thing as me, the pattern is pretty straightforward. I don't remember right now because I'm not looking at the reference picture as I'm recording the voiceover, but I don't think I followed like exactly the reference picture. It was just kind of like an inspiration. So yeah, you can even like get a different inspiration, a different picture for your butterfly if you are inspired on a different pattern or a different shape, right? You don't really need to follow along, and you can follow along like with the same butterfly. You can just use the techniques we're gonna learn here today and apply to your own drawing, right? But basically the pattern of the wings is pretty straightforward. The lines in general are always going to move from the body towards the sides of the wings. So as you can see, they are never straight lines. They are always curved, and this creates that beautiful flow of the wings. I'm kind of doing the same thing in the bottom side right here. I think this pattern is like super, it's simple, but it's like super elegant and nice. I like the way it's turning out. And by the way, I'm going to try to describe what I'm doing a lot when it's relevant. And just so you know what I'm talking about, all these lines that I was doing on the wings that separate the wings, we're going to call them like sections, okay? So these lines separate the wings in little sections, and we're going to work with that idea in a little bit. Right now, I'm also doing a little contour around the wings and creating a little bit of a texture and like just a finishing touch on the shape of the wings. So I'm doing this little curves for each section, making them a little bit what would you call it, like they look comfy, they look like a cloud. Basically, we're trying to make that, you know, comfy look for these wings. You can also do the opposite way. I don't really know, there's a name for this like type of curve, but I don't know the name of that in English. So you could do the opposite way, or like the curve is inside instead of going outside. Is that making sense? I hope so. Yeah, and that also gives a lot of personality to your butterfly, and it's basically like just a style choice. It doesn't really matter in the end. And now I'm marking this like light demarcations over here, like these lines, just to help us create the details and the patterns so they look symmetrical. So you can always draw these light lines whenever you need on both sides. And as you can see, I always work like from one side and then the other side. This is just the way I like to do it, just to make sure I'm keeping it symmetrical. I think it would be much more challenging if I did one side, finished it, and then started on the other side, right? So anything you do on one side, I would recommend you to just go ahead and go do it on the other side too. Also, so you don't forget, and I think this makes the process a little bit more relaxing. And right now I'm using an ink pen. I believe this is a 005 ink pen. This is my favorite pen, the one I use the most. I used to use the 01s more than anything, but then I found that like the thinner my lines are, the more detailed, the more realistic I can be with my drawings. Of course, they take a little bit longer to finish, but I feel like the results are worth it. So I'm really using the 005s and 003s a lot more. And right now we're just going to outline the body of the butterfly, and the outsides of the wings. So just contouring the wings, and then we're going to do the pattern before outlining it with, so we're going to do the pattern with the pencil and then outline it. So basically right now, don't outline the sections of the wings, these lines and these details inside of the wings. Just outline the contour, the outside contour, and it's going to make sense in a little bit. Every time I'm contouring a drawing like this, I think if I should make like some coloring pages or something like that, because it's so satisfying to have like an outline and then just do whatever we want inside of it, right? So yeah, if you are interested in coloring pages or even just outline sketches so you can do your own details and your own practice, I don't know, you're even shading or stuff like that with your ink pens, let me know and I can try to come up with something like this. Right now I'm just grabbing the eraser and cleaning up the paper a little bit and just erasing whatever we can. So just like the outsides, the body, this is not necessarily urgent to do right now, but my hands sweat a lot, guys. I don't know if this is a thing that everybody goes through, but yeah, if I'm drawing too much with my pencils on paper, they're going to smudge 100% and the paper is going to look really gross. So I usually try to erase my pencil lines as soon as I can. But moving on here, what we are doing, so you want to be really careful with this part because we are not going to outline these lines, just like draw over the lines, okay? We are going to try to make the lines that are separating the sections of the wings, we're going to try to make these lines white. So we basically have to contour around them. So you're going to, like right now, I'm just doing these little curves to create the details of the wings, right? So you can start doing that. But then when we are ready to do the lines, we are going to contour the shapes of the sections, if that makes sense. I know this sounds complicated. I feel like when I say it, it sounds way more complicated than it is, but I don't know how else to describe this. So anyway, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So right now, all you have to do is create these little shapes at the ends of the wings. Again, this is very, just it all depends on your reference picture, or whatever ideas you have for a pattern. You can kind of be creative with this part. You can create your own details for the wings and do whatever you want, basically. But I really wanted a very detailed butterfly with a lot of shapes inside. So this is what we have so far. I actually cut a lot of footage on this part because I had a lot of moments where my hand was lifted from the paper and I'm just looking at the drawing and thinking of what to do because, I know sometimes like we want to be creative at the same time. I didn't really want to just copy the picture. I actually don't remember. Maybe I did copy, like maybe I did try to be as close as possible to the reference picture, but I think I was trying to be kind of a little bit free with the pattern, not too much, but just a little bit. And yeah, you can kind of just create some extra shapes. In this moment, of course, I'm being like really detailed, so I'm holding the pen really close to the tip and it might be a little bit hard to see what I'm doing. So I am hoping that the other angle of the camera is going to be easier for you to see. So we're going to put that on the screen right now. Hopefully I filmed all the parts with the other camera where my hand is, covering the drawing. So, sometimes I get really in the zone when I'm doing these drawings and I forget, not that I forget that I'm filming, I never forget that I'm filming, but like I'm more focused on the drawing than what's happening with the camera. Like if my hand is in the right position, I'm just trying to get the drawing done. And I'm still like trying to find the best format to do these videos. I think the overhead is a good, like it's a very clear way to see the drawing from above, but it's inevitable. Like my hand covers the drawing a lot. So yeah, I've had people in the comments say that the other angle, the side angle, it's kind of like a 45-degree angle camera that films my hand from the side. Some people don't really like that angle at all. So I think the ideal thing would be for me to just move my hand, like or just draw with my hand in a different position where you could see it from above. But sometimes it's just really hard to do that. Like sometimes you just want to hold the pen vertically against the paper. We're just adding some more shapes like this. Again, everything you do on one side, you want to do it on the other side. And I think it's already looking pretty cute. It was very tempting to just speed up this part of the footage because it seems a little bit boring, but this is one of those drawings where, I don't know, you just start getting in the zone. And it's really relaxing to do. I feel like some people who are not into drawing like this, or maybe they are more like, I don't know, some people who do more like free-flowing art, like, I don't know, abstract art or things like that, like where you're more free with your movements and you just kind of like let your emotions take over and help you like create the brush strokes and the hand movements and all that. I think that, I don't know if they would feel the same. Like this seems like for some people this slow process and super detailed would be super boring and super like tedious. And I tried the free-flowing thing and it's nice sometimes, but this is way more relaxing to me, like to do something really slowly, really detailed, really like, with the attention on the tiniest little things. And I love how the details make such a difference when you have that, like, when you're drawing something really detailed and you're really focused on a detail, and then at some point you're gonna move your head up and your attention up and look at the whole thing and you see how it's coming along. Like that feeling is a hit of dopamine for me. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like this social media dopamine hits that we get, or like the little games on our phones that gives you those like tiny little pleasures and you get like addicted. I think this is what it feels like for me. I don't know if anyone can relate, but I'm assuming that if you fell in this video and you are watching this right now, I think that you probably can relate to this. And I don't know what that means, honestly, but I guess there are people interested in all sorts of things, right? By the way, this is the time, as you can see, where we're starting to outline the shapes of the sections and not the lines. I don't know if you can clearly see, but we're trying to leave the lines empty. And once we erase the pencil lines, we're going to be able to see this better. But right now, we're just drawing the shapes, and we're going to outline the general overall shape of the sections around these little shapes that we're doing for each section, if that makes sense. I really don't know if you can hear, but my dog is snoring in the background right now. So yeah, I'm sorry if you can hear that. Oh yeah, I just remembered I was saying, yeah, if you fell in this video, you might be watching this to fall asleep. Actually, I would love to get into this niche of YouTube. I know some people that watch like Bob Ross to fall asleep, and I would love to provide such content. I'm not comparing myself to Bob Ross, the legend, but if I can make a relaxing enough video. You know, someone else that really inspires me is Peter Draws. Have you guys checked out his channel? I don't know what it is, but his videos are so chill. It's just great. And also, I don't know if it was during COVID, but he made a podcast. If I'm not wrong, it's called a content-free podcast, and it's just him talking about really random things. Why is that interesting? I don't know, but it is. It's like it's just great, and it's just really relaxing. So yeah, I'm wondering if I can create this kind of content. I feel like this is supposed to be something like that. Like, it is instructional, and we are drawing here together, but if you also want to fall asleep in the middle, I will not be upset. Okay, just let me know in the comments when you wake up that it worked and you fell asleep, because you're probably tired. Anyways, here, look. This is what we're doing. We are outlining the shape around the lines. We're basically outlining the lines, if that makes sense. We're not like going over the lines, we're going around each line, which takes a little bit of pen control. That's why I'm taking so long with this part, because I'm trying to be really neat with this. Like, I could honestly, if you remember, I already did put this footage in 1.5 speed. Okay, so in real life I was going even slower than this. So just remember, if you are going slower than me, so am I, you know? So yeah, it is a slow process. And at this point, it's not looking so great, but trust me, this is going to make a difference. Because if you look, the cat came to visit. He's so cute. He's my roommate's cat, and they moved out, so the cat doesn't live here anymore. But the cat usually came to visit during my drawings, and he's really cute. Aww. Look at him wanting to pet my pen. Aww. But anyways, what were we talking about? Probably these lines. He's really distracting me. I'm trying to record this voiceover, but okay, bye kitties. Anyways, yeah, so as I was saying, I just remembered, this is not looking so good right now, but if you look at reference pictures, if you look like on Pinterest or something like that, each insect has like different kinds of wings. I'm actually super interested in this. I don't know why, but like the wings of insects are so interesting. I don't know, I want to learn how to draw all sorts of different wings, and I want to understand the patterns because they are different for every bug, like every species of insect. The lines sometimes they look pretty random. Are they? I don't know. Just a little pause on my rambling so I can explain. As you can see, I erased the pencil lines already, and now I'm using, I think this is a 01. I can't really, 05. Yeah, so I'm using a 05 pen now to use some solid black and cover some spots. What spots, you might be asking? So basically, you can kind of choose, right? Just remember you need to be symmetrical, and we are trying to leave the white lines white. So the lines that separate the sections, we're going to leave them white. So I'm basically doing some solid black around these little shapes that we put in each section, just to create a little bit of, we're starting with this butterfly. We're trying to create a little pizzazz over here, and she's gonna start to come to life. And look, like, right, dude, it's pretty cool, and it's easy, right? Because we could just do some stippling, some hatching, but then this video would take 10 hours for us to finish. So we're going to use as much solid black as we can to make a super cool, intense, very like full of personality wings for this butterfly. So yeah, any place, any spot that you feel like could be dark, you can color it, except for the lines, as we said it multiple times. I'm sorry if I'm being repetitive. I'm just trying to fill the space with me talking, but I was completely silent while doing this in real life. Actually, I feel like now that I'm doing this for the first time, I decided to show you guys the footage of like a quote unquote fake real time drawing. As I said it, it's not exactly real time, but anyway, it's actually making me feel like it would be easier for me to actually do a live and talk as I do stuff. I don't know. I think it would make more sense, but I think there would be a lot of quiet moments. I think it's easier for me to talk a lot if I'm doing a voiceover than if I'm live, because when you're focused, I don't know. What am I going to talk about? I don't know. You know what I mean? I can pretend that I'm like just talking to a friend or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try. I'm gonna experiment a little more with YouTube. This year it was a weird year for me. I don't know why. Something with the stars. Probably, the planets were not aligned. But now they are. I'm feeling super productive now. and I'm feeling super excited. I have a new studio for me to draw, and this year really taught me about, I am already talking in the past tense about the year. That's pretty sad, but it is what it is, guys. It's almost over, let's be honest. But yeah, this year really taught me about how your environment can influence your life. I'm really into, like meditation and, working on my mindset and being positive and affirmations. I'm all about that stuff, but sometimes your environment can really just, I don't know, like this year I was not vibing with my environment. And I was feeling so unmotivated, and it was so frustrating for me because it was the first, like this year was the year where I found just like a little bit of success. I feel like I'm, in many ways, in my head I am successful, but like in the conventional, numbers way of success, like I got a little bit of attention on TikTok. I got like a really nice following on TikTok, and my YouTube is growing and all that. So this is the year where like a lot of exciting things happened for me, and it kind of like solidified that yes, I can be a full-time artist. Like before that I was like, I don't know if it's gonna work. Like I really want it, but I don't know if it's actually gonna work out. And this year, like the universe proved to me that yes, like it is going to work out. Like you're gonna be able to do this for a living full time, 100%, but then like my environment just like drained me so much. I don't know. But then I don't want to really go too much into it because it's personal stuff. But things changed. My environment changed. I have a new studio, new workspace, new living situation, and oh my God, I am a new person. Like I was like, where was I this whole time? Like I wasn't posting anything. I didn't feel like filming anything. I didn't feel like teaching anybody anything. I didn't feel like I was in a position to teach you guys even how to do a little drawing. Like I lost connection with that like purpose, like the why. I lost my why at some point because I was so like I was kind of like a downer this year. I was really negative about stuff, and that's really not me. I'm usually very positive. And yeah, if you're hearing this and this is resonating with you, maybe there's some sort of environment changes you could do. I mean, I'm no expert. I'm just rambling over here. But yeah, it really made a huge difference in my life. Nothing like setting boundaries, am I right? Aye. Anyway, here you can see a beautiful footage of my hand out of focus covering the butterfly. But yeah, we're going to add an alternative angle of this footage. So you can actually see what I'm doing. But basically, like, do you see? I'm just basically contouring the shapes with the solid black. Also, you can kind of like have some fun, super fun. Have a little fun, guys. Color your shapes. Aye. I'm so funny. Anyway, yeah, like some of the shapes you can leave them white and contour the black around it, and some of the shapes you can do the solid black inside of them. They can be the solid black. Look, it looks pretty cute, right? I feel like this, what we're doing right now is really good for us to work on like the pen control too, because it's so detailed. Like you don't really want to go over those white lines, and it's like a really small space. So yeah, I feel like this is a good it's a good drawing. You know, it will give you more than just a butterfly. You get a little bit of, you know, a little bit of a workout for your hands too, and controlling your pen and controlling your movements. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. And one thing that I'm thinking about is to make create a little bit of contrast between the bottom and top wings. So I think we're going to make the top wings way darker. So we're going to use more solid black. To be honest, the more solid black you use, the less you're gonna have to hatch and do those other, you know, time consuming techniques. We love them, but they take a while, you know. So it all depends on your level of patience and the results you want to have. You know, if you want a butterfly that's a little bit more delicate and less dark, then you can leave more white space and do more hatching in the end. You're gonna see that the part where we do the hatching, like we're gonna create some different tones with the black ink. And feel free to go back and forth between your pens. Like some spots I'm being able to use the 05, and when it's like really thin and really small, maybe you want to go down to a 01, a 005. If you're actually watching this video, please leave a comment. I would like to know that, like, I want to know, because I'm under the suspicion that no one's gonna watch, but I feel like someone will at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. We'll see what happens. Oh my god, I'm really liking the way this is turning out. Like, I know I'm recording this later and I've done this drawing before, so I'm talking about past feelings, but I really like this. I tried drawing a moth before. It was similar, like the wings are similar, and the first time I tried drawing it, that was like a few years ago with the ink pens. It ended up being like really dark. You know when you're just starting out with the ink pens and you find the advent of the shading, and you just want to shade everything to create that beautiful contrast and create the depth and all that. You know, it's just so cool when things look 3D and to feel like you have that power to create that optical illusion, right? I don't know, I feel like that. It gives me this is gonna sound really dumb, but it gives me a sense of self-confidence. Like, it's like, I can do this. I know this is really dumb, but like, it's like I can draw something and make it look 3D. I don't know how useful this skill is, but I think it's cool. Like, I don't think everybody can do this. Like, definitely not everybody can do this, you know? It's like the fact that you can use a pen and use your contrast and use, you know, your ink to create optical illusions, to me, that's super, super cool. I don't know. I don't even know why I was saying this. Because we were... Is that it? Because we were... Because we were shading? I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Excuse me, I'm going to have a sip of my coffee over here. I haven't really talked for 40 minutes straight to no one. ever. This is new. Yes, my coffee is definitely cold. 40 minutes later. We can call it a nice coffee. So I don't know what you think about this, but I'm really into this contrast between the top and the bottom wings. Like the top wing being darker, you know what I mean? Like, so we basically outlined and like not outlined, just we used the solid black to cover all the spaces around the little shapes inside just each section. So we're gonna keep doing that because it's pretty satisfying. Actually, another reason for me to do a live is hopefully there's going to be like one person, or I'm going to stop being so negative. Maybe there's going to be a lot of people, millions of people interacting with me. And then I would be able to like talk to you guys. Would that be interesting? I don't know. Tell me in the comments. I don't know if I'm there yet. I know that at some point I'm going to have an audience that is interested in talking to me. That sounded so like needy, but but what I mean is that like I'm a really, really small content creator, so I understand if it's not, I won't take it personally if you're not interested, is what I'm trying to say, you know. I always thought that like, you know, when I'm like this big or that blah blah blah, I'm gonna start doing lives, or when someone asks me questions, I'm going to start doing lives or something like that. But I don't know, maybe I should just start. Like, people are doing lives. Have you guys seen, like, are you guys on TikTok? I don't even know if I should say the word TikTok is gonna be bad for my reach here. Probably not. Whatever, I'm just gonna be myself. Anyway, if you guys are on TikTok, have you guys seen those, is it NPC or how do you call it, like people doing lives pretending they are AI characters? What do you call that? I don't even know. Dolls. They like some people pretending they are like anime characters. It's so cringy, but like it's one of those, it's like where did I see that? I think it was like a The Office episode where Pam says like it's a car crash that you don't want to look at, but you can't stop looking at it. This is exactly what it feels like to me. These people are making lives, and you know they had to start somewhere. I am definitely not going to make content that is that cringy, because honestly I don't know, maybe it is cringy, but no, nothing is as cringy as that. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm honestly like really impressed with their I want to say courage. I'm impressed. I am definitely impressed. Like, you need to have courage. You need to have a level of self-confidence, or a level of I don't give a fuck, you know. That is very commendable. So yeah, I'm very inspired into the AI anime characters. And I'm gonna start doing lives, drawing stuff, and it's not gonna be anything like that. But I mean, if they can do it, I can do it. Aye. It's kind of therapeutic to just like laugh with myself. It's just that there's not much for me to tell you right now on this drawing. Like, as you can see, like I'm just painting the spaces, and that's kind of it. There's like, I'm not gonna be describing each little thing, right? But I wanted to do a follow along video, a relaxing follow along video, so I didn't want to speed up this part, even though it's pretty straightforward. I think, I don't know, is it? Maybe it is confusing to you, but like, this is basically what we're doing. Like, we're coloring the spaces. It's like a coloring book, right? We drew shapes, and now we're just coloring around them. I don't even know if we should say coloring, because it's black is a color, but you know what I mean. It's black. It's not exactly a color. Or is it? I feel like I should know this if I'm an artist, but I didn't really go to art school, so I'm an artist because I said so. Oh, it's looking so cute. Look at her. Or him. I don't know. One more sip of iced coffee. That was once warm. I kind of feel like the more shapes you added in the beginning, the more this part's gonna take, because it's gonna be more detailed. So if you want to make this process a little bit faster, I guess you could add less shapes, or maybe larger shapes. Like, instead of making 3 shapes inside of each section, maybe do only 2, maybe do only 1. I don't know. I don't know. I really enjoyed the whole, like, really detailed work. It makes me feel proud of myself. I actually have been thinking a lot about, I've always thought about like the career path I wanted to take as an artist, because I've always wanted to do art, you know, and it's a dream, a huge like privilege and dream come true to be able to do this for a living. But there's a million things you can do about it. Like, I ended up going to the content creation route because I started doing that during COVID, where, you know, we were stuck at home and I had a camera, and, you know, I just went from there and kind of like fell in love with the whole filmmaking side of it, like, and storytelling. Like, I really enjoy it. But I think a lot about the other possibilities, because I don't know, I want to experiment with things. And I noticed that now I'm more of an art teacher than an artist. Like, I've been thinking a lot, like, what exactly makes me an artist? I really enjoy teaching, don't get me wrong, like, I like it. I'm not gonna stop, but at the same time, I don't remember when was the last time I did a drawing that wasn't for a tutorial, or something that could be used as a tutorial. You know, it's my art style, like, it's something similar to this, but, you know, that's not my art style, honestly. Like, to the full extent of it. Like, I like doing different stuff and doing more like surrealistic things, and I haven't done that in a long time. but it does seem like tutorials get a lot more traction, and I don't know, I think it's just the beginning of this content creation career. Like I kind of have to go with what works. And yeah, I'm hoping that with time, with building a community, I'm gonna have more space to kind of share more of my actual art. But anyway, here, as you can see, I'm just, still feeling the spots. The temptation to speed up this part is very, very big, as you can imagine, but I am not going to. I'm going to be honest with you guys. And as you can see, I'm just kind of like finishing up the filling up spots. I went around the shapes first, and then I'm just, filling up the corners now. Again, if you hear noises in the background, that is my dog. He just woke up from his little 75th nap of today. All he do is sleep, because he's an old man. But he has his own spot in the studio with me, so I call him my assistant during the day, and he needs to take his work naps. And yeah, we're still filling up the spaces, filling up the shapes. At this moment, it's kind of nice for you to kind of look up and see if you want. Oop, that's my dog. Can you hear it? Odie. Shh. Okay, he's gonna go back to sleep very soon. But basically, now we can kind of start filling up the spaces for the eyes, the body, and we want to also create a little pattern for the body. You're gonna have a little detail in the center that is going to be unique, and then you can also be symmetrical with this details on the sides of the body like this. This is really optional. You don't really need to create a pattern for the body. You could just do some shading and make it all. You could even do it like a solid black with shading and leave some light spots. But I think my reference picture had some details, so I'm kind of going with that. I'm adding this little dots, and there's like a kind of like a diamond shape, like a little star shaped like detail. So yeah, you can totally be creative with this. I feel like the next time I do a butterfly, I'm gonna try to just kind of use a reference picture for the shape, and the lines of the wings, because I'm still not feeling super confident on like the wings of insects. As I said, like I feel like they're sometimes they look so random. I don't really get the logic behind the line, so I'm still gonna use reference pictures for that. But maybe I'll try some more creative patterns next time and try to do my own thing. And now, as you can see, we're starting a little bit of the shading. So with a thin pen, so it could be a 005 or maybe a 01, preferably an old pen. If you only have new pens, you want to tilt your pen on an angle to do the hatching like this, so that you can get like really thin lines. Otherwise, your lines are going to be really thick and full of ink, and then they're going to be like really visible, and it's gonna be harder to make it look realistic and smooth and create that like blending effect between the white and the black. So yeah, my best tips for you is to like always keep your old pens, maybe create a little separate space for old pens and a little other container for new pens. I always like to do a little bit of stippling for the eyes, and always leaving a light spot that makes living creatures look alive on drawings. If you don't leave a light spot, they look dead and they won't look realistic. So I think like in small spaces, the stippling works amazing. The stippling works amazing everywhere, but sometimes it's hard to have the patience for a stippling, you know, because it takes so long to do. So yeah, you can do a little, I'm doing a little mix of hatching and stippling, and the whole idea of this shading is to create this 3D effect and create some depth. So you're basically gonna try to blend, you know, the shadows on the like outsides of the body. So not outside, but like inside of the body, but on the outside edges. Try to make them darker, and we're going to try to leave the center lighter, leaving more white in the center spots in the body. And as you can see, it's starting to look a little bit more 3D. Again, my hand is totally covering the paper. I'm hoping I have footage with a different angle for you to see. And this is where, honestly, this is the most fun part for me, is the shading. This is the part where I get those dopamine hits, as I was telling you guys earlier. This is the part where it, you know, makes us feel like we are really accomplishing this drawing, you know. You can also do a little bit of hatching, you know, like the lines that we left white. So something that you can do that can be interesting is hatch on the lines on the areas that are closer to the body. So you're not gonna leave the whole line white. You're gonna make it a little bit darker. So not solid black, but like a little bit darker when it's closer to the body. And on the spots that are more like towards the end of the wings, like on the outsides of the wings, you're gonna leave them lighter. And that makes it look super realistic in the end. You're like, right now, it's not giving much of an effect, but in the end, it's going to create that sensation that the wings are curved, right? Because, you know, if something is a little bit curved, it has a little bit of a curve, the light won't be the same throughout the whole thing. So you don't want to leave the whole line white, right? So we're going to create this contrast and make the lines that when it's closer to the body a little bit darker. And also another thing you can do is hatch just to create a different tone. So there's two types of hatching we're talking here. There is the hatching of blending and shading, where it's like fast lines and your hand is lifting from the paper in the end because you're trying to get towards the white, right? And then there's the hatching that is even throughout the whole space, and then you're just adding lines and covering a spot and just creating a different tone. So this is an alternative. It's actually really satisfying to do the even hatching. So it's just fast lines, but instead of doing the movement where your hand lifts from the paper in the end, it's just not going to lift, and you're going to have a line that begins and ends with the same thickness, basically. This sounds way more complicated when I explain it than what it is, but like right now, for example, right now I am going over this shape on the wings because I don't want that to be white, and I also don't want that to be solid black. So what are we gonna do? We can hatch to create a little bit of like a gray tone, right? We can the more lines we do, the darker it's gonna be. I personally, if we're trying to go with slightly real, it's not exactly realistic, but like closer to realistic, then we want to use a thin line. And if we want to make it darker, we do more lines instead of using a thicker pen. Like, so instead of using a 0.5 to make it darker in comparison to a 0.1, we're going to keep using the 01, but hatch more to make it darker, if that makes sense. You can also add some like little details if you feel like it. Like for example, the little spot that I just added like a little black thing inside. I don't know. Looks cute. And this is basically our butterfly, but now we're going to make it look more 3D. So to create the depth, I always like to do this little hatching on the... Do you see the difference from this hatching than the hatching we were doing for the shapes? So basically, right now, I am lifting my hand at the end of each stroke. I'm lifting my hand from the paper, so it ends white, as you can see. You see the difference, right? So this hatching is great for shading, and you can do that a little bit in each section like this, and at the tip, like on the outside. Odie. My dog wants to participate. So yeah, as I was saying, you can do this on the whole like outside of the wings on these white shapes and create a little bit of a movement. As you can see, like it's not perfect, right? I'm not creating like lines all over the shapes. It's more like a little bit in the middle to create like a little bit of a movement there. And yeah, any spot that you feel like, I think what I'm doing here is that I felt like it was a little bit too white over there. So you can do a little bit of hatching when like you don't want to go for a full-on solid black, but you also you're not feeling that the white is looking great. So you can do a little bit of hatching to create a little bit of a mid-tone and create like a smoother transition between the white and the black, because right now it's black and white, right? There's no other tones except for like the body and the bottom wings. But as you can see on top, we want to create a little bit of a mid-tone to make it seem a little bit more realistic. Also, if you have white on white, right? Because we created so many little sections and so many shapes. If you have two white shapes next to one another, or like a white shape and an empty space that's obviously going to be white, then you don't like it. Why would there be a line dividing those two spots, right? So you want to use the shading or even stippling if you're feeling like it to create that division between spots and like separation between shapes. I'm going to take a sip of water. I'm sorry if you're not really into the ASMR. You had to hear me drink water, but I guess some people are into this right now, right? Oh, this part is important. I have to talk about it. So basically, this hatching is the most important one because we are doing that hatching where we lift the hand in the end, right, to do the blending. This is just shading. And as you can see, I'm not being particular about the spot. I'm trying to go over like the whole wing, but I'm going through each section without like trying to fit like a shape. And I'm moving we're always moving from shadow to light, and the shadows are going to be closer to the body. So where the wings are closer to the body, it should be a little bit darker. So even if you have a white spot in nature, in reality, if you have a white spot there, it's going to be gray. It's going to be a little bit darker, right? And same thing with this area that I'm doing right now, like the outsides of the wings, the like outside edges in these little white shapes that we left. Like we did on the bottom wings, we're going to do a little bit of hatching over there too. And as you can see, this creates such a huge difference, right? Like before this, it was really flat, right? The drawing was beautiful, but it was really flat and it didn't have much personality, I don't think, just my own opinion. And I think it looks smoother and more natural with the shading. Another thing that you can do too is for each section, you could hatch a little bit like on the outsides. When I say outsides, it's like inside, but on the outside edges. So on the outside edges of each section, you can hatch a little bit. This is kind of what I was doing here. And this is gonna create this sensation of that, like each section is a little bit curved on the wing, you know what I mean? So, you know, like it's really slight, right? Like the wings, each section is gonna be slightly curved. And we're just trying to portray this really delicate detail, even though like it looks good right now already. Here I'm just adding a little bit more shadows on the closer to the body spots, as we were talking about before. I personally, this is kind of a personal thing, but I really like these super intense contrasts. I kind of like a dark drawing. Some people like it more delicate. So if you are one of those people that like it more delicate and like it more smooth, and maybe you want to avoid some of the solid blacks, you want to leave a little more white spots and do more shading. And you can even, as you can see, I'm kind of creating only just a few tones of gray with the hatching, but you could, like, for example, like I'm doing here, I'm cross hatching right now, right? So on top of a hatching that's in one direction, you can hatch on the opposite direction or in a different direction on top of it to make it darker. And as you can see, that is a darker tone of gray than the other ones that only have one direction of lines, right? If you're feeling like I was feeling like in this bottom wing that the white sections were kind of like too much like white on white. Like in reality, it's never really like that. Like if you have three white things one next to another, in real life, the light, like there's no way they're gonna look the same, you know? Like you want to add a little bit of a different tone for each one of them. So as you can see, like it's still white, but I'm adding a little bit of hatching to create this difference, and that this, it gives me the feeling like we can breathe a little bit. Like if two things are, you know, that this whole like white on white thing, I don't even know if I'm making sense, but I feel like this whole white on white thing, it makes it look really, what is it? Maybe boring. I don't know. That's not really the word I was looking for. It gives a sensation of like natural when it has the shading on and like blending a little bit, right? Like when I talk about contrast, it's not really about the difference between white and black, and more about the range between white and black, if that makes sense. So it's not like white and then immediately black, because then the drawing is gonna look, it can look like a little bit flat or a little bit more like stylized, like more like a drawing. Like it won't look like an actual like realistic drawing, right? So the range between white and black is where you create the optical illusions we were talking about. And this is all not right now, like I'm kind of just, you know, exaggerating. We don't really need to add any more, but the more I look at my drawings, the more I'm gonna find details to work on. And this actually is a good detail that I like to do. Like, so on the outside edges where we have the black, we can create a little bit of a line, like a little bit of a black line to contour that spot. But I don't know if you can see it, but Odie, sorry guys. But I don't know if you, I'm sorry again. I don't know if you can see it, but you can leave the white, like leave it lighter on the, like the line that contours these shapes. In the center, you can leave it thinner, and we're just thickening the outside, like the inner side of the curve, if that makes sense. I feel like I made it so complicated now that I explained it. Just look at what I'm doing. I'm basically like, I'm just going over it, not completely, but I'm just, it creates a little bit of a shadow right there, and a little bit of a you know, more realistic shape, basically. You can also add some lines like this. This also creates that like curved effect on each section. So it's just like on this outside shapes like this. Just remember to replicate everything on the other side. And we're coming to an end, finally. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I really think that next time I'm gonna actually do a live, or I'm just gonna try to record me speaking as I draw and see how that goes. Maybe I will be more inspired, and I don't know. Let me know what you think about this format of video. I plan to keep doing the other videos. Ideally, in my wildest dreams, I would be posting 2 videos a week. So like one normal tutorial, like 10 to 20 minutes long with a lot of editing and like really more fast-paced, and then one video that is like follow along, that it could be on a like live style or just a video. I don't know guys, like this is my dream, but I don't know if I can pull it off. I will do my best. It all depends on what you guys like, right? Like if I see that you guys like and appreciate this video, even if it's less people, but if I feel like you guys enjoy this format, then I will definitely do more. So if you like this video, make sure you like and leave a comment. Just like try to let me know that you like it, because I'm really unsure about this format. I'm kind of like trying something new. If you would like to do this drawing and post it on social media, you can find all my socials in the description, and if you tag me, I will definitely share your artwork with everybody else. So thank you so much for subscribing and for watching and for commenting and liking, and I'm gonna see you next time. Bye!